Good evening, everybody. It is October 9th, 2025. This is the Town of Concord Zoning Board of Appeals meeting. With us here tonight are Elizabeth Hughes, being the town planner. Online is Kevin Pickering, our building inspector. Board members here.
Building commission.
Building commissioner, sorry. Is Stephen Newbold, Ravi Fahia, and myself, Theo Chinnemans. Our fourth member is en route, and she will be here shortly. That's Elizabeth Dwyer Leonard. She'll be here in 10-15 minutes. But the three of us are here, so we have a quorum, and we can start. Everybody is in the meeting.
Yeah.
Everybody's in the meeting. Let me just get my screen in order here. That person that was there.
Yep, click on.
Hold on. Okay, excellent. I didn't trust that one anyways. 7 o'clock, Karen Prusing, applicant owner for the renewal of a special permit on the zoning bylaw sections 5.3.15 and 11.6 to operate a tourist home at 280 Sandy Pond Road. Anybody here to speak in favor of or to?
Can I say in favor of it?
Yeah.
I'm Karen. Yeah, I'm in
Yeah.
favor of that.
Oh, in favor, but can you explain what you're looking at? I mean,
I think first and foremost, I provide a service to the town
Mhm.
because the guests that stay with me, they don't really have an impact on the school systems or anything else, but they do come to the restaurants and to the museums, which they have
Mhm.
had glowing reports about the town. They love the town. They love the shops. They love the condensed ability to pop from store to store, and they frequent them. So I'm happy that they do that. I encourage that.
Good, and everything I know we, I mean, I was one of the person voting for this permit 2 years ago, and everything went well since then.
Yeah.
Let me double check with the building commissioner. Kevin, do you know any complaints or anything?
No complaints.
Okay, thank you. Do we have any questions for the board members here?
Are we, what's the renewal term we're looking at?
Yeah, we haven't got yeah, that's, I was just.
We'll say that for.
Well, we'll say that for the end. If there's no questions here, any questions, comments from the public? Opening out for public comment.
May I ask a question?
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
just want to know, I'm a rule follower, first of all,
Mhm.
and I just want to know, do all the homes that have an Airbnb connection, do they all get charged the same amount of money as I?
For your application,
I don't really know what it's for. I pay $170. I'm not sure what it's for.
Or when
Oh.
you apply for the permit or?
Well, I did then, but I have to do it every year,
Oh.
$170.
so
Stephanie goes to the bridge for the, the notice in the paper.
yes, so every special permit renewal application, the fee is $100 for.
Okay, so everybody that has an Airbnb in town, they pay that fee, correct?
Everybody who has a special permit and has a legal Airbnb,
I have a
yes.
legal Airbnb.
yes, they pay.
I had checked all those
Yes,
boxes.
they pay.
Okay,
The first time you come through, you probably don't remember, it's $200.
yes,
And then the
I
renewal is
remember.
100.
Yeah.
So yes, everybody who has a legal Airbnb under our zoning bylaw
yeah,
pays
because I
that.
did talk to one individual, which I won't disclose the name, and she does not pay, and then I talked to another woman, and he does not pay, so I just.
It's not that they don't pay,
Mhm.
it's that they have not filed for a special permit application.
Well, they advertise that they're a legal Airbnb through the town and that they're licensed and whatever other particulars.
Well, I can't
Yeah.
speak to that. I
Yeah,
can
we
tell
can't,
you.
we can't speak, but every time a special permit gets renewed,
Mhm.
you you need to pay the fee.
Right. Yeah,
And that
right, and I
vehicle fee, and
understand, and I'll pay it willingly, I just want to make sure that I'm not held to a different set of standards that other people are not paying and I'm paying.
No, no,
Okay.
no, we're not, but we're having public comment, and I
Okay.
don't think there was any public comments. I'm gonna close the public comment section. Bring it back to the board and follow up on your comments, so every time you come back, you need to pay that, $100.
Yes,
And
Yeah, I
we
understand
gave
that.
you a 2-year permit.
yeah,
And now the question is, since there's no comments, no complaints, the question for the board is that Ravi just brought up, is the renewal, is it term now 3 or 5?
And it may be that other people aren't paying because they have longer term, right?
Yeah, that's, I mean, yeah,
Do we have a standard on this or?
If it was 1 or 2 years, I mean, you usually, go to 5.
Yeah, I'm good with 5.
yeah.
it's good, yeah.
I mean, that's what we up in the first permit is 1 or 2 years, just to see whether
Okay.
everything goes, and
Right.
then we'll just because we don't want you to come back here every year. And
Right,
and
okay,
just then,
thank you.
you know, if
I want to
everything
be
goes-
every year, but I'm not gonna come back here.
yeah, no, everything goes
Okay.
well.
So
then-
you won't have to pay a fee for the next 4 years.
Oh, good, okay, that gives me another carrot to follow. I'll keep staying
But-
healthy.
But indeed, now the problem is, don't forget 5 years from now, right
Right.
now, it's a longer
Oh,
period.
No,
You
we
gotta-
send out a reminder.
Do you? Yeah. Oh,
Do.
good,
Yeah, you
good.
do, because I've got the reminder from
Ah,
them, yeah.
good,
No, they
excellent,
send a reminder, which is good.
All right,
excellent.
I move that we approve the application of Karen Pressing for the renewal of a special permit under zoning bylaw sections 5.315 and 11.6 to operate a tourist home at 280 Sandy Pond Road. Obviously, it's a renewal, same conditions, except that this will be for a 5-year term.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Congratulations, see you.
Thank you.
See you.
Thank all of you.
I don't see you in 5 years because I'm not here.
Thanks.
But 5 years from now, you should be back here, available. 705, Anna Seredova, applicant owner for special permit under zoning bylaw sections 5362 and 11.6 for home occupation to operate an online bakery, ordering and pickup at 469 Hayward Mill Road. Anybody here to speak for the applicant?
Hi, that would be me. Sorry for not joining in person. I just had a baby, so not actually possible for me to leave him. So yeah, I started a very small home bakery business, and it's operating actually for a little bit over a month. And I was selling at farmers market, but it would be really great if I could offer pickup at my home for customers, which is not allowed for my zoning. The plan is to have pickup window for each customer, so I don't generate too much traffic, and I don't expect to have a lot of customers. Mostly because of I'm looking at my bandwidth, so it's like maybe 10-15 people maximum, couple times a week, like couple days a week, and I will try to do it not through like the rush hours, so I don't generate like traffic when we already have a lot of it.
Okay, thank you. Any questions from the board?
Are you planning to have a sign? Or anything like that?
And so I did have a question, a couple of questions, and that has application, and see whether I can quickly pull it up here. I guess I don't have it up. You are, oh, there it is. You are hours operation, customers will be limited to a 3-hour window between 9 AM and 3 PM, which is a 6-hour window, and 1 or 2 days per week, Monday, Friday, or Saturday, which is 3 days. So
So it would be
What-
like 3 hours window, but in this 6-hour window, and 2 days out of those 3 days that I mentioned, depending on there is sometimes we have some holidays or stuff, but just these are the days that I would plan to have people come pick up orders, but it will be limited to 1 or 2 days between those 3 days that I mentioned.
Okay, so if you have had pickups Monday and Friday and you get an order in, you'll say you can't pick up tomorrow and Saturday because you're already done your 2 days?
Yes. Yeah, mostly because it's also the operation, I will do it all myself. It's just not possible for me to do spur of the moment orders because it takes 3 days to do to produce the things that I'm selling.
Right. Have you talked to any of your neighbors about this?
Yeah, I did talk with several neighbors. I think even 3 of them wrote support letters that they don't mind. It is in the application too.
In the application? I'm looking for those. Sorry about that. I did not see them. I saw a narrative and the application itself, but I did not see any letters of support.
You go, were those letters included with your application when you submitted it? Or did they come in by email?
I did send them by email. I'm pretty sure I printed them out and included in the application too.
I'll go look. I guess a question how many orders a day?
Yeah, that's the, how many orders a day would you typically have?
Maybe 10, 15, it's tops, not more.
Are you producing everything in your home kitchen, or are you doing anything else, setting up separate cooking facilities in your home anywhere?
No, I have everything in my home kitchen.
Right. Yeah, I still have some questions and thoughts, and I'm just gonna open it up for the public here. If there's any, I mean, Elizabeth is now looking for the support letters that you got, but if there's anybody online or here in the room who wants to speak in this application, please please raise your hand. Not seeing anybody, then we'll close the public comment section. Back to the board. I struggle with the home to pick up. You know, if I had a neighbor that had 15 vehicles a day coming in and out. Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily be unhappy about it. I'm definitely not happy about it, but it just, so at least that the times are specified, and we struggle a little bit on a Saturday because Saturday is always a peak traffic time and all. Okay, there are 3 letters of support here. So let us quickly look through them. So don't for that. Okay. No. So,
Okay, I think 15 sounds like a lot, right?
yeah, it sounds like a lot. But, it's not, if it's, what was it, Wednesday, Friday, between 9 and 3, most people are at work, the other
Right,
people
yeah.
home, but I see that, neighbors are fine with it. So,
Yeah, and this, it's a matter of degree, it's like, where do you draw the line? You know, on the Saturdays.
and
Well, they don't come like all together. They will come in like their pickup windows so that I don't have like, 5 cars coming here. Like I will try to plan it so that people will come and they will not stay here because it's like it's not gonna be like I'm not selling at home. I'm selling online only for pre-orders. So they come, take their order and leave immediately.
What
Which
happens if
makes
they
it-
miss a pick, or if they miss their window, they have to reschedule, or how are you gonna work with that?
Um, this is a good question. I think this would be yeah, I think I will just have some extra time set up during those hours just for people who miss their pickup windows for them to come later
Makes sense.
during those hours.
yeah, and then, you know, in winter time when people show up and just let the car running because it's, or in summer and at the air conditioning running, I mean. I don't,
I can't see that pickup can't take more than like 3 minutes, though, right?
yeah, sure, but there shouldn't be any long idling.
Yeah.
So it was,
It's a good condition to have, right? I
Yeah,
mean, there's
yeah.
a big line anyway, but, right?
Yeah, and
but-
And we have like very big driveways, so even like if we have someone who parked already on our driveway, we will have three spaces for anyone else to park. So they will not park on the street; they will park on the driveway. I will come up, give the order, and they just leave.
Yeah. Okay,
so is it 15 pickups per week or
no, a maximum of 15 pickups a day.
a day?
And that,
Over
and a
3 hours.
maximum, and a maximum of 2 days, so you would have a maximum of 30 pickups.
Right, stretched over 6 hours potentially.
And this is like again 15 orders. This is not like that I expect them to have 15 orders. It is like maximum that I will be able to produce.
Okay. Okay,
I feel like we do hear from the neighbors, if anybody's.
yeah, no, we have three
Yeah.
letters of support from the neighbors, so that pushes me sort of over the line, in good sense of the
Yeah.
word in this one. And, you know, we always, our first, as we just also,
Right, it's
over
gonna be
here,
a year.
it's gonna be, you know, we're gonna issue a permit here most likely for a year. So, you know, if there's any issues during the year, then, you know, next year you're gonna be back here and, you know, obviously be hearing from us, but for now, I think.
Yeah,
We'd
so
be
were there
ready.
any particular conditions you wanted to call out?
So do we have a precedent or any previous conditions that might be applied for?
No, but what I heard that there be no exterior signage for the business. Pickup will happen only 2 days a week. Either, I think it's what was it, Monday?
Friday or Saturday.
Monday, Friday, Saturday, sorry. Pickups will happen only between 9 and 3 during a 3-hour window with a maximum of 15 orders per day, per pickup day.
And only one pickup at a time, right?
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, so
Yep,
on that
Fine.
basis, I move that we approve the application of Anna Spiridova for a special permit under zoning bylaw sections 5362 and 11.6 for a home occupation to operate an online bakery. Ordering and pickup at 469 Hayward Mill Road, with the, you know, parameters that are in the application and discussed by the board.
A second?
all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Congratulations,
I hope it goes well.
yeah, it's Spiridova, I hope, I hope you get a lot of customers.
15 of 15.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you.
7:10, by the way, Elizabeth Dwyer Leonard now joined our meeting as well, for the record. 710, Vanessa and Arturo Sato, applicant owner for special permit on the zoning bylaws sections 715 and 11.6 to demolish the existing attached garage that is 14.8 feet from the side property line and to construct a new attached garage that extends the non-conforming side yard setback to 7.5 feet. 126 Old Marlborough Road. The applicant has requested that the public hearing be continued without discussion to November 13. So can I have a motion to that
Do we
effect?
have a time slot?
Um,
25, 7:25? You already got 5, you said you had 5 matters, but. Or I don't know if you're counting this one.
Give me a second.
Sure.
Sorry, it's just me. I'm rusty. Seven 13. Oh, 4 items, so it'd be 7:20.
I'm going to continue the hearing to November 13th at 7:20.
I second that.
All those in favor?
Alright,
Aye. Guys have it. 7:15, Henry Dane Esquire, the applicant on behalf of Carolyn von Braun, owner for special permit on the zoning bylaw section 713, 715, and 11.6 to construct a 232 square foot addition to connect the single family dwelling to the existing detached barn garage, which is located 1.2 feet from the side property line at 93 Monument Street. Mr. Dane, good evening.
Good evening. Can we put up on the screen the site plan?
The new existing.
No, this is we're talking about 93.
yeah, the proposed.
Monument
site plan
Street.
looks like, Yeah.
The same.
Hmm?
No change in plans. It's the same
Nope.
application from before.
Yeah, but is that the existing site plan from,
No,
is that
it
the
is the
existing or
site plan.
proposed?
It's a proposed site plan?
It
or
is a
sales
proposed site
The
plan.
proposed, yeah, let's
Changed.
Okay.
let's wait on that, let's wait on that. So we heard back from our, thank you. Yeah, we heard back from our, town council. And there's kind of two ways of going forward with this. What I don't think we picked up on early on, and this is door number 1 here. And you get to pick a door later. Door number 1, there is already like a deck connecting the house with the garage, and so the opinion of town council is there is already a connection. So what you're proposing, that connection doesn't make it more or less connected. It is already connected. The breezeway is not in any of the residential side yards or, so it's totally conforming with everything. So door number 1 is that as a result, you ask for the board to I'm dropping the terminology.
That's
Yeah.
okay. You want me to pick up?
Yeah. Yeah, go on.
Okay. So, under section 715C, which it's not B, Henry, it's C, which says that if, you have a non-conforming structure that's non-conforming due to setbacks, this lot's also, I think, non-conforming to the front yard. But, non-conforming to front yard, I think, is B, setbacks is C. But if somebody has a legal, non-conforming structure or lot, and you can propose an addition to that non-conforming structure.
Mm.
And you only need a building permit if that addition conforms to all of the setback requirements and you are not expanding that non-conforming structure by more than 50%. It is obvious that this little connection is not expanding the, the structure by more than 50%. And it does conform to front, side, and rear yard. That is, the first opinion of council is that the board does not need to issue a special permit. The building inspector can just issue a building permit.
I would not object to that.
So the course of action is, because the application has already been submitted and a legal notice has already been published, the board does have to take action. And the recommendation is that you request a withdrawal without prejudice. And then the board will accept that withdrawal and then you file for a building permit. If the two structures were not connected, it does not change town council's opinion. He provided a few more factual statements based on legal court decisions. And this addition is not expanding the mass of the structure. It cannot be, seen from the road. It's only a very narrow addition. It's a single story. And given its placement and the placement of the two structures, he also feels that based on those decisions by the courts, that the board could issue a special permit, and it would not be a variance. But I think option number one is the simpler option.
So you're saying that we withdraw the application without prejudice and file a new application under,
Nope, you
No,
would
no,
just
no.
file for a building permit.
just ask for a building permit?
That's option one.
Well, that's,
So we did that. We filed for a regular permit, but it was rejected.
Correct. And this is where, I will profess and, the building commissioner can agree. I do not know every single court case that has been, issued, as far as, if for this particular situation, I'm gonna say the facts of this situation are such, it is a small addition, the size, you're not adding to the massing. The courts have made opinions on those types of cases. If this structure, and the house, and you were proposing, a huge two-story addition, and from the street, it increased the massing of the house, and from the neighbors, it increased the massing. That would be different circumstances where in that case, the board may decide that a special permit is needed because it would be an extension of that non-conforming structure that may be detrimental to the neighborhood. And that's not the situation, given the facts of this particular application.
and I don't think that technically the application for the building permit was rejected. It was just, you were informed informally by the building inspector that he would not issue one. So we decided that rather than have him deny the building permit and appeal the denial, we would just come directly to you, which got us to where we want to be.
So I just still have a question. Does that mean the building commissioner and inspector can decline our application for building permit? Legally, we cannot.
Not, I mean, well, legally, and, Kevin can speak for himself. Legally, he can, you may file for a building permit and he may say that you don't meet code, you don't meet what, I mean, yes, he can deny your building permit. Is it gonna be based on what we previously had discussed? No, that's the whole reason that both the building commissioner and I
Those grounds.
made a request, following the board's meeting to get an opinion from town council.
So can we actually make that withdrawal in this hearing at this time?
I
Or-
would be more than happy
To,
to do that.
all right, to, ask the board to allow us to withdraw the application without prejudice.
Can I interject? one
Yeah,
more thing?
yeah.
Just so you know what withdraw without prejudice means, and it's not this case, but somebody may have filed an application. There's a lot of things going on and they say, you know what? We're gonna withdraw our application without prejudice, which means that they can come back and refile. If a board decides to accept a withdrawal with prejudice, it means that that person cannot return with the same application. So that's just,
But
but you're fine.
and which one are you saying? We're doing it without prejudice, which means if
If you wanted to, you could
Yeah.
file tomorrow again.
I could,
Yeah.
but yes, I could do it, any kind of foolish thing. But anyway, we consider it withdrawn and we move on.
I move that we accept the withdrawal without prejudice of the application of Henry Dane on behalf of Carolyn Von Brown for a special permit. Under zoning bylaw section 713, 715, and 11.6 to construct a 233 square foot addition to connect a single family dwelling to the existing detached barn and garage. At 93 Monument Street.
I second that.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye,
Thank you.
okay. Onward and
Unfortunately, I
onward.
have to stick around for another
You
item.
can stick around for the next one.
Thank you.
720, Paul Mahoney Architects, the applicant on behalf of Henry Dane, the owner, for special permit on a zoning bylaw section 4221, 627, 6213, 713, and 11.6 to allow the conversion of an existing carriage house with a non-conforming side setbacks to an additional dwelling unit that exceeds the allowable gross floor area and FER at 60 Everett Street. So Ms. Mahoney, welcome here. A lot has happened in the last couple of months. We've gotten a ton of information, and gotten some communications with, from our town council as well. So, I suggest tonight, I think you have, either a presentation or an update to give to us. Let's do that, and then I think we're gonna just discuss and go through it and see where we end up. So for now, Ms. Mahoney, the floor is yours.
Great, thank you. I'm Paul Mahoney from Mahoney Architects, and so since we last met, we've done some revisions to the application based upon the last meeting and the site visit, and information, opinion from town council regarding the 20% limit on section 4221. And so based on all that, we went back and made revisions and resubmitted that information to you a few days ago. So I don't know if you've had a chance to look through it in any detail, but I'm happy to kind of walk you through the big picture.
Please do.
So are you,
Yeah, it's all made about.
okay.
Want up first.
So could you put the, maybe just put the narrative up, the revised narrative?
This is from September 30th.
Yeah, that's right. So you may have this in front of you. It's just a written description of the
Mhm.
changes we've done. I thought I'd just briefly overview that and then I'll show you
Great.
some drawings. So basically on the first page, that first list of bullet items describes big picture, what we've changed. So the previous application had all of the living spaces of the additional dwelling unit on the second floor.
Mhm.
We've moved those all to the first floor, so that's a big change. As a result of that, we've eliminated the entire dormer on the right side of the building. And on the left side of the dormer, we've reduced that. It was 34 long, so essentially 1 foot in from each end of the building. Now we've reduced that to a 13 foot 6 wide dormer. So now we've got a much smaller dormer on that side, no dormer on the right side. And of that dormer that we're keeping on the left side, we've reduced the windows from 5 windows to 3 windows. So that dormer is basically there so we can fit a stair in to get up to the second floor. And then we added a few minor design elements as part of this change. So we added some skylights on the right side and the left side for light and ventilation. That second floor space now is basically sort of flex room type space, probably be used for art and hobbies and crafts and things like that. So we added some additional skylights in for light and ventilation. We added a small overhang on the front door. I'm not sure why I didn't think of this before, but now having all the living spaces on the first floor, it just seemed logical, just to have a little protection from the weather. We made minor modifications to the rear deck on the backside, so there's a deck on the second floor. We basically adjusted the stair, so the stair was a little bit more compressed and compact. And we added a ground level deck at the first floor. Since all that living space is down there, now we can, now we have a deck there so that that living space can use it. So then if you can go to the next page, Elizabeth. So all of this then has effect on what we're asking for, and it has reduced what we're asking for. So we're no longer asking for any exception to the 20% limit of 4221. We are still asking for a special permit under 4221 for the dwelling unit. We're not making any changes to the side yard relief request that we made at the last time. We're still proposing that the building be moved on the site as we had shown before. On the FAR relief, that request has been reduced down to 70 square feet. It's about 1.3% over that allowed by code. And on the GFA relief, we no longer need to request that. So in a nutshell, what happened is we moved all the living space downstairs, and because we reduced the size of the project to get under the 20%, that affected a lot of the other requests we're making. So Elizabeth, maybe if you could go to the drawings, and I can't remember what I called that. Yep, there you go. So if you go down to the bottom sheet, that ace, the 6th sheet, see on the left side, the bottom, I don't know if you can, yep, just keep scrolling down. Yep, keep going. So I think this sheet is the easiest one to sort of see the differences that we've changed. So the top row is the existing barn. The middle row is what we had proposed originally. The bottom row is what we're proposing now. So you can see on the far right, that elevation compared to the top right, basically adding 3 windows, 4 skylights. We decided to keep that little existing dormer. Doesn't really have a purpose, but it's kind of cute and it's there. So we thought, why not keep it? The next drawing over to the left, the only change there really is that we've added that little overhang at the front door. And then going to the next drawing to the left. So this is facing the left side of the building. And you can see we used to have that big long dormer, so that's been eliminated. And now we have the smaller dormer with 3 windows instead of 5. And we've actually reduced some of the windows on the ground floor as well. And then the rear elevation, the furthest to the left, largely similar to the previous iteration with the exception of the dormers. We still are filling in that rear corner on the first floor where you see the door and the windows to create the living space. And in this iteration, we've got a primary bedroom. So we've got a French door going out onto that new rear deck. Previously, that was just the back shop area of the garage. So we actually are using some of the existing garage space now for the dwelling unit. And you can see how the stair has sort of changed. So that's like the elevation changes. If you can skim back up, Elizabeth, maybe 3 or 4 sheets. Those are just larger drawings of the elevations. You can keep going up.
No,
Nope.
That's it.
so you want, what
That's
do you
it?
want?
Oh, plans, sorry. Yeah. Yep, so if you can go down to the next drawing. So this just shows the current layout. So the drawing on the left is the first floor. Currently, that barn garage goes all the way back, so we're using the back half of that for the bedroom. The left side will be the living spaces, and then we've got the stair going up to the second floor. So that back left corner where the dining table and the couch is, that's an area of addition that's noted there by that dimension string on the left. And then you can see upstairs, basically that's all the existing upstairs space. We're just gonna finish that into a flex room. We've got provisions for a 3/4 bath there, and then we've got a deck off of the back. And if you go down 1 sheet, Elizabeth. So this is sort of the diagram that shows where these additional areas are. It's the hatched areas in plan. I just noted as I was looking at this a minute ago that I forgot to change the notation on that upper hatched area. There's a little box there that says how many square feet is there. I'll send you a note on that tomorrow. I forgot to change the number from the previous drawing, saying how many square feet it is. But those are the 2 areas that are the areas that we're adding. And I think those are a total, I think it's 287 square feet. I think we're allowed 295. And then the drawing on the right is just the diagram. It's the same one that we had before. And it just shows how we can, work the parking for this site. So there'll be 2 parking spaces for the existing dwelling unit. And then the additional dwelling unit has 2 spaces inside the building. And then we can allow for an additional guest parking space there. And there's enough room for everybody to turn around and get in and out of the site easily. So the last thing I wanted to just show you, you had asked last time about the GFA and the RFA calculations and asked if I could give you a sort of summary of that. So I can't remember what I called all these things, Elizabeth. Yeah, there you go.
You've reviewed these with the building commissioner, right?
I have. Yep. Yep. So do you want me to go? I'm happy not to go over them.
No, I'm fine. I think we looked at them.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, I just sort of
I did,
outlined.
and it was, it's just important that, they were checked by the building commissioner.
Yep. Yep, and it is a little confusing as to like what numbers go into each one. So
Yeah,
hopefully
yeah.
that memo sort of clarifies it. And I
Yeah.
added 2 copies of the town, sheets behind it, just to show this is how you calculate the FAR, this is how you calculate the GFA. So hopefully that makes that clear.
Yeah.
So I think the only other thing I wanted to point out is that now with the more limited revisions that we're making to the existing building, the fact we're not putting these 2 long dormers on, we're just putting 1 smaller dormer on one side. And we're not proposing to change the level of the existing second floor anymore. The previous iteration, we were gonna lower it to create more space upstairs, but now we're keeping it where it was. The amount of changes we're talking to this building are, in my opinion, minimal. We're adding a 13.5-foot dormer onto the roof. And we're adding some skylights. That's really all we're doing to the existing barn. We are adding in the rear corner of the first floor, but that's not really changing the walls of the existing barn. So I think the last time there was a question of like, how much of this building are you changing and removing? I think that's a different discussion at this point.
Right, and you mean the fact that you're leaving the floor
Yeah.
height the same, I
Right,
think,
right.
is big, at least.
Yeah, I
for-
think-
For me, I mean, that,
And I think relative to how do you move a building like this, in one sense, it's the contractor's responsibility to figure out the means and methods of construction, how he's technically gonna do it.
Yeah.
But I think it's much more logical now that this building could physically be, lifted up and moved on to its new location. I think previously it'd be a debate, you know, like, why are we bothering to do that? A contractor would say that, you know, if I
Mhm.
have to rebuild these roofs and you want me to move this floor, why do you
Yeah.
want me to move the whole building? Now it's much more logical that that would happen.
The sort of the 70 square foot over the max FAR.
Mhm.
You just walk through.
Where that is and why.
That's driven, yeah.
Yeah, so,
And then just so that, you know, the bylaw asks for no reasonable alternative. So that's a question you need to answer, I think.
so where that square foot comes from, is the first floor addition at the rear left is hundred and 72 square feet. And then the dormer on the second floor is 115 square feet. And, we need to put that stair in to get up, and we need the headroom to get up to the second floor. The other places to put that are gonna end up in the garage itself and make that unusable, or in the middle of the bedroom, and make that unusable. So it's a practical reality of getting a stair up there to add that small dormer. And the other square foot on the first floor, if we took 70 square feet out of that space, it gets hard to use the space that we're using at the back of the garage. And that's partly why we're able to, you know, not add on at the second floor. So, right now that is, 172 square feet addition. So if we took 70 out of that, we'd basically be cutting it in half. And now it's becoming just sort of problematic as to how we connect into the back of the garage without going through the garage. And then we lose a lot of the function of that garage bay on the left-hand side.
I think that's all right.
You're in the exact same footprint. The area of the footprint is the same as the existing building. So the 70 square foot is within the building that you're making simply by using more of the ground floor. Yes, you have an addition on the back of the but the basic barn is the same footprint. You filled out the corner.
Right.
And
Right.
so, yeah, the only way to say is, okay, take 70 feet out of that,
Right,
or, you know, do less upstairs.
right.
I don't know if it's code compliant to waste space inside the building and then therefore reduce your GF,
Mhm.
right? So in essence, you know, yes, you have all that room at the head of the stair. Yeah, you could cut that back. You could pick up 35 feet there, and you could basically box in an area of the garage and waste 35 feet there, and you would be at 70 feet. So, you know, mathematically,
As an effort of calculating.
as just a calculation theoretical thing, but in reality,
Hmm.
it's,
It's interesting,
it-
right?
yeah,
because part of
if
the
you had to
space-
meet that line and say, no,
Yeah.
there is an alternative that you could just waste and box in the space and lose the 70 square feet somehow.
Hmm.
It's not practical, doesn't make sense, but if
Right.
you had to meet the line, that's
Right,
one alternative to do it, right?
Is it reasonable? Doesn't seem
Yeah.
reasonable.
Right,
Yeah,
that's a good point.
just,
Yeah, that's a good way to frame it.
Okay, I think we're back here to a discussion of the board of where we're at. I think, right, we've had a lot of information and we need to just, I would assume we just go through here. And discuss 4221.
Should we do public comment if there is any?
No, I think we've had plenty of
I
public
think we
comment,
just- Great.
on all the emails that we've gotten, and we've gotten plenty, so.
You have one.
Okay, twist my arm, open it for public comment here.
Later.
You have at least one.
Coming up there, he's our show you.
I didn't see anything here,
At least one hand.
okay, one hand raised, so,
Yeah, so here's my first point on this thing.
I'm sorry, you're.
Right.
Constance Levine, 149 Stowe Street. I think Paul has tried to pull something on us here. Because what he did, you know how he never had done a FAR before of the whole thing? He was just dealing with this one that had to do with the garage, which was meaningless. Well, now what he's done is he has changed the gross area that the town has at 1230 for the top floor.
Let me just interrupt you here. That's why I
Yeah.
asked Paul twice.
Yeah.
Did the building commissioner review all these numbers?
Yeah,
The building commissioner has.
Yeah.
So I am
No.
accepting these numbers
no, you
now.
can't accept them, and let me explain to you why, okay? Because the gross area, and I'm taking my stuff off the town's records, okay? And what he did was he used the living area, you know, the town has two columns, gross area and living area, okay? He took the living area, which is 923, and he put that in the gross area column. Now, you might not notice that, but I'm a realtor, so I notice it, and I know it's
I know
wrong.
that these numbers that Paul used
No.
are correct.
They're
I-
not,
I-
they're
I-
not,
I
they're
just-
not. You're incorrect
How-
because
I-
these require gross. There's a big difference between a living area, which in his
The
case,
building commissioner said that they are correct.
he's wrong. The guy is wrong. He was wrong on the
Just
50.
Just
He
right.
was wrong on the 50% by right. He's wrong on this. And you gotta let me finish talking and I can show it to you. There's a huge difference between living area and gross area. He's got some kind of a pool room on the top that's about 900 square feet, but you can't just throw away the other 307 square feet on that level without, we asked to measure, I asked to measure the third floor, I asked to measure the garage. You didn't do either one of them. And now this is the reason you have to do it, because now he's putting things in the wrong column purposely, because he's actually you have to add he's saying he's only under by 70, over by 70, he's over by 377, okay? So his FAR is wrong. And the only way you can change it, you can't change the town's gross area without having measured or determined it's wrong. And so, you know, the fact that you say, oh, this looks good because, you know, the brand new guy signed it, that doesn't fly.
It does fly
It
because
doesn't, because we will, if we go on that, we don't know, you don't know what the rest of that area is in that.
I go out, I go on the opinion of our building commissioner and
He hasn't looked at it,
may I finish?
yeah,
I also go on the professional license that Paul Mahoney puts on this, and he might like Henry Bain a lot, but I doubt he's gonna be risking his professional license by lying to this board over a few hundred square foot in the
no,
building.
he's filling
So
it
I
in
am relying
incorrectly.
on those numbers.
You're wrong, and
And-
we're gonna come after you on that, because you should be willing to look into it when I tell you and point out to you what the town's stuff. You wanna see the town's papers that show what the gross area is? I have it right here.
Just send it all
It's
to.
right here, you've already seen it. I already attached. it.
Okay, so, sorry, Kevin, do you wanna?
There's a lot of other problems here too.
We've got
Okay.
Kevin, do you wanna just, join in here?
He's on Zoom.
I'd just like to state that the assessor's records are not accurate. They shouldn't be construed as being accurate. The architect has taken his measurements and I agree with his measurements. The
He didn't
dimensions that
measure
he's
the third
provided.
floor. He did not measure the third
Excuse
floor.
me, let
Yeah.
Kevin speak.
Yeah, but what he's saying
Let
is
Kevin
wrong.
speak.
Yeah, he's saying he measured it, but he didn't
The
measure. the
assessor's
third floor.
records are not accurate and they shouldn't be taken as being accurate. When somebody's doing an addition or calculating the gross floor area of a structure, they do their own calculations. We don't go by the assessor's records because they're never accurate. They're never accurate. They're guidelines. That's really all I have to say about it.
Well, where
Right.
is his calculation of the third floor then? Where is his calculation of the third floor? Does he have one?
Or do you wanna answer that?
Do you have,
Can I just offer,
where is it?
can I offer an explanation of how the assessor's information?
Oh, they got it. They multiplied it by 3/4. It's a 3/4 story, they said, for living area,
So,
not for the gross area,
so,
not for the gross area.
so this building has a hip roof on it, so it does not match the
That's
living
why
area.
they
of
give
the-
it a 3/4 story.
So they
That's
didn't like
why-
the reader.
That's why it's not.
Right, and that's why you have to measure it to get the gross area.
The gross area of the second floor is 1,230 square feet.
Yes,
That's the gross area of
Yeah,
the second
it
floor.
is.
That is a
That's what they have.
full perimeter.
Yeah,
The gross area of the third floor is exactly the same, 1,230 square feet.
yes,
So the third floor living area has to be smaller than 1,230 square feet because it has a hip roof on it. So they're using 3/4 of that number. That's
for
what
the
I'm
living
using.
area though,
Right.
not for the gross area. They have the 1230 in the gross area. It's right here.
So
It's right here. It's the
So
same.
the,
So you
the
have
floor-
to measure that,
the floor,
determine the gross
the
area.
calculation sheet says that
Yeah.
the floor area ratio includes all areas with 6'8" headroom or greater.
Yeah, right.
So it's impossible for a hip roof third floor to have the same amount of space as the second
Right.
floor.
But there's
That's why-
there's 300.
The 300
feet.
because it's a hip roof.
No,
It can't
Unless
match
you
the second
measure it,
floor.
you don't know what the gross area is.
Is it
You-
feasible to
you
you
need to
that a
measure
hip
it.
roof building, the space under the
I
hip
look
roof
at
could
I know what
match
the
the
building
second floor?
looks like. I know what the
Okay.
building looks like.
I
And you
don't-
know what? The only way you can tell what the gross area of that is to measure it. Because some of that might be higher than 6'8". Some of that unfinished space might be higher than 6'8". And that's what you didn't do. So, and whether Kevin signed off on it or not, he didn't measure it either. None of you measured it. I wrote you a letter. I spoke up at the first meeting and said, you have to measure the third floor and you have to measure the garage.
The garage has been measured.
Yes, but part of the garage is a lean-to shed, okay? So that may not have the ceiling height. I mean,
I've
I don't
measured-
know what you're trying to hide. I don't know why you didn't let the abutters come in and look at the thing. There's something going on here and I'm not gonna let you say that
Sorry.
that you've done stuff that you haven't.
There's no obligation for any applicant to allow abutters on their property or in their home.
Right,
So
and I didn't,
that-
I
and-
asked them to allow the assessor in there to measure it.
there is
That's what I-
nobody in Concord that has to let their assessor in their home regardless of whether you have an
Okay,
application.
well then
with the
he
board.
doesn't know
So you
what the
have two
gross
other
area
people
is.
that-
If you substitute,
So, and I'm,
substitute something for it that was not proven by Kevin or anybody in this room. No one can say that they know the gross area of that third floor because it can have unfinished.
all I
space.
know is that there's a professional license here, on the table that, on the line that,
It's got nothing
that
to do
I
with his
depend
professional
upon and I
license.
depend upon our building commissioner and I am not, unless, I think unless I feel like there is really something egregious going on,
Yes. there is.
then
Because
I'm not
when you-
gonna,
when
and
you
there is not.
factor it in, he's 27% over, what he's allowed,
Okay,
when you factor that in.
okay, thank you very much.
Yeah.
There's two other
And I
people.
have other things to say about this, lots of things to say about the structure and what he's proposing. So you need to give, there's no one in my, group of abutters who's available, you know? So I'm the one who has to give all this stuff.
Well, there's
So
two
there's-
people, there's two people online here that are waving hands and sitting here.
Okay, well then you're gonna
That's-
have to
that's
let me,
so-
you're gonna have to extend this until I can get my lawyer to figure out this thing, cause it's wrong, and you won't admit it's wrong, and you won't let us prove what we need to prove.
Thank
So
you very
I'm gonna
much.
say instead
Next,
of being-
next one, NW iPhone 16 Pro. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi,
We are Deb and Nat.
we are Deb and Nat Welch at 141 Stowe Street. We're sitting in a car. We just landed in Albuquerque. We're on vacation. We're sitting in a parking lot so we can be here. I have 3 questions. First of all, we were waiting to hear the town council opinion regarding the correct zoning code to be utilized for this application. It sounds like the applicant has received the information. I had been told that town council opinions are in writing, but I've never seen anything posted on the website or provided to us. It sounds like you have it, and I'd love to hear it. I'd love to hear you read the opinion. And then I have 2 other questions. Should I?
Let me address the opinion first.
Okay.
Opinion is
Thank you.
confidential and privileged information between the client and their attorney. So that information is not being made public, at least not verbatim. We might touch on this as we go through, as we discuss the application later on, but it will not be made available.
Well, if you said it was the town.
Excuse me, it's
No.
somebody else. Somebody else says.
That. I asked for that.
Somebody
I
else
have it in
has the
writing,
floor
and I
now.
asked for that from Kim. I have it in writing. I said, have you gotten the letter?
Right,
And
and we're not.
and no
giving it
one
out.
answered me, but,
And-
if it's not his lawyer, it's the town, you said it was the town council.
Town council, yeah.
So the
Yeah.
town council, he can look at it, but we can't,
No, he hasn't seen it.
yeah? Well,
He
why
hasn't
did you
seen
say it was confidential to him? To the applicant or whatever
The
you said?
committee.
To the committee.
We're the client. The zoning board is the
Yeah,
client.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
Okay.
I
So,
requested that.
anyway,
Okay,
somebody else.
can we
will
go?
interrupt you, somebody else.
Connie?
Yeah, well,
Connie?
she knows I asked for it, 'cause I
Connie?
told her. Yeah.
Connie, thank you. Thank you so much for all the work that you've put in, but I just have a couple of questions, and I think Nat does, and Ernie Saracen, another abutter, is on here. So in any regard, so you're saying that that opinion is not made public, yet it sounds like the judgment was that the 4.2.2.1 is okay to go by with this application. And I know that the board at the August 14th meeting raised concerns among some of the members of the board about that themselves, independent of the abutters raising questions. In fact, I think the chair of the board also said that he was not sure that that was the right code. So it's confusing to me, and I'm not a lawyer, but as I read the code, it just sounds like it's talking about a 2-family dwelling with a common wall or a connecting piece or something. So it's very confusing
Okay.
to me. I'll just say that. And then
So
I
let-
guess
let
I'll.
me- Tammy, I'll touch on that one, because
Thank you.
I was the one that was having that was questioning this, but the town council's opinion is that this is the correct paragraph to go under, and with a good explanation. And then there are several precedents in town that have been set over the years. There's quite a history on it, that this section has been used for exactly this specific application. And I did ask as well, the house right, or the lot right next to 60 Everett Street is the same configuration, and we don't.
Okay, well, I guess I'll
Yeah,
just have to
yeah.
accept that because I don't know the details on that. My second question is,
So
and
hang
we
on,
talked
hang
about
on,
this,
hang
this
on,
was
hang
talked
on.
about a bit at the
Hang
August
on.
14th meeting as well, that when you're talking about an existing building that you can work with, but you're going to move it, you're proposing to move it substantially, and it's a very aged building in very poor condition. In fact, well, I won't go into that, but it's an old structure. So what if the structure cannot be moved at all? It's completely torn down and then a new structure is put up. Can the application go forward?
Again, these are all questions that we were gonna address in.
Oh,
our
I can't hear 'em.
discussion on the items.
Sorry.
And so, you gotta hang on for that discussion.
Okay.
I think.
Oh, okay.
Okay, fine.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
And then my third question is, why move the structure? That's creating a lot of issues with two abutters in particular who are gonna lose a lot.
We lose
From-
a lot of privacy. There's a balcony overlooking our yard, overlooking our bedroom. It's gonna be a long, a set of windows. We appreciate the applicants removing some of the windows. But why does it need to be moved? Why can't he just build it where it is and adjust where the parking spaces are? Because what he's doing is he's fundamentally changing the
character of our section of the
Character-
neighborhood
a section of the neighborhood
to our detriment.
and diminishing our property value. And, it also may set precedents. So, we would like to have the board, if they allow this new structure, to leave it where it is and have the applicant adjust the parking spaces. Because then it will not ruin, a view that a number of the abutters have at this point.
That we have had for 30 years and the Robinsons have had for 45 years.
Yeah.
So, and I know the Robinsons wrote a letter to you in that regard.
So
So that's all I have. Thank
That's
you
what we
very
have.
much. I appreciate all that you're doing.
thank you.
Thank
very
you.
much.
Thank you. Next up, Mr. Saracen.
Thank you, thank you, Mr. Chair. My name is Ernie Saracen. I live at 155 Stowe Street, and my wife and I still object to Mr. Dane's plans to move or tear down his garage and construct a new house. I've set forth my arguments in writing previously, so I won't repeat them now, but let me just summarize them again with all respect to town council. I think town council is wrong, and I don't think section 4.2.2.1 allows this kind of modification of a garage. The home is going to be much too large. It's going to increase by 50%. It's going to increase congestion. It's going to change the character of our neighborhood. The new structure is going to be substantially more detrimental than the existing structure. And I don't think moving the garage is feasible given its current condition. I'd be interested to hear what the site visit yielded in terms of the condition of the home. And for all these reasons, and for the reasons stated by Mr. and Mrs. Welch and Connie Levine and the Robinsons, we object to the construction of this project. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Would you have anything to add to these comments?
Me?
Yeah,
Yes, I have a lot of things to add to the whole thing that is.
please don't
Let me
duplicate what
tell you,
anybody said.
No, I'm telling you, I have issues with the moving it. The only reason Henry had for moving it, he said, is it looks better if it's more spread out. That's not a good reason for moving it. And so the other things I have are issues with the whole design of this, because if you look at those pictures, okay? I wanted to find out like why there's an overhang on our side, first of all. And I also wanted to find out, why does he have 3 windows on the top side when it's next to a stairway? Nobody is going to need a 3 window on going up a stairway and at the top of the stairs. That's bad architecture. There's no purpose of it. The only time you have a window on a stairway is usually on the first floor. Sometimes you have a a stained glass window or a little square window when you first get on the first landing? That's one question. And then on the on the bottom floor, you have those 3 windows. And then when you look around to the back of it, you know, here's the side and here's the back. He's got 3 more windows there. So why in the world would you need 3 windows here and then 3 windows on the next corner? That is bad architecture too. Makes no sense. Plus, he has all these French doors what looks like has glass in them. And that's gonna present a whole bunch of light coming out of that house. That's unnecessary. And it's just a whole bad design. If he doesn't even know what he's doing on that second floor, he really needs to look on the ADU. That's where he should be looking under. That's where he falls. And he doesn't meet the 4221 because he's not connected to the house. And when Elizabeth said, this is another thing I've asked for and haven't gotten. She said there was some change in the town meeting to an article that would affect or could possibly affect 4221. And I have emailed Kim and she said she sent it to Elizabeth. I said, what article is it? I need to look it up. And also, why hasn't it been changed? It's been 4 months since the town meeting. Why isn't it updated? No one answered me. No one got me I said, give me the article number. I have my book here. I still have my town book. I could look it up if somebody would give it to me. No one would answer me. And that's unacceptable. That's really unacceptable. Yeah, this afternoon. Yeah,
yes.
well, I don't know. I was busy writing up what I was gonna talk about last night.
My apologies.
But you were given it before. You were asked about it before. I have it all written down because I always email so I can prove I asked you this stuff and you didn't tell me. And the same thing about the legal letter. I said, you know, I even asked, I said, did you get it? And if you do get it, will we be able to get a copy? No answer, no answer. 2 or 3 times I emailed that. So that's unacceptable. And I can prove all this stuff. And if you don't listen to what we're complaining about, this thing is a disaster. This whole thing is a disaster, moving this thing, and there's no reason for it. And and the numbers that you're saying are just plain incorrect. The thing is 27% now, once he fixes his gross area over the FAR. The 27% over the size of what he could build. And the size of what he could build is still the 1,419. It's very close to what the existing size of the garage is. So he should just, with the and I'm giving the benefit of the shed, because I don't think the shed actually belongs to the structure. That's why the town doesn't have it in there. But this thing is nowhere near done. There's all kinds of problems and all kinds of questions. And if you just let them go and don't deal with them, we are going to come after you for it, because that's not the way to treat. You got 5 abutters. You got somebody on every side of that thing opposed to it, every single side. And you're not listening to us, and you're not giving us answers, and you're not measuring it as we asked. And that's unacceptable.
No, okay, thank you very much for your comment. Having had all people who raised their hands spoken to, I'm now going to close the public comment section of this hearing and go on to a discussion of the board. So,
I think in this process, I'm reminded that we as a board are a certain level of power of this decision-making process. So we consider everything that's been brought to us. If something meets the standard where it's supposed to meet, such as the FAR, we take that. But there is another process that people can go through. So we'll do our process and leave those other avenues available.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so this is this.
And we'll do this to the best of our ability.
Yeah.
And just making sure that I think, since we had so many questions.
Yeah.
I had a lot of questions last time. And that's why we did a site visit, looked at everything very carefully. got an opinion from town council. I think that was very, at least for me, very meaningful, so that we are on solid ground, I think, with that. We had enough information to make a solid, decision, on this application. And I think we should just, move forward with our discussion here, I think, on all the comments.
Did you want me to highlight town council's comments?
Sure, for the
Yeah.
record.
Yeah, sure,
great.
sure.
Good.
Highlight them so that any people have asked for them. Again, this is a confidential and privileged communication between the attorney and its client.
Which is
In the
which
board.
is-
The board is the
which is
client.
the board,
Which
yeah,
is the board,
yes.
which is the
So,
board. And so we are not giving out this this memo, but, we can, Elizabeth will summarize it here.
Yep, so the first question had to do with the appropriate section under section 4221. And specifically 4221, town council's opinion is yes, that is the correct section. That section deals with allowing existing buildings. It does not say existing dwellings. It says existing buildings that are placed on the lot prior to 1928 can be converted to an additional dwelling unit by special permit with the board. The change to that section a long time, well, a few years, it was years ago. There was no change to this paragraph. Dealing with this particular section has not been changed. 2 years ago, the following paragraph was changed to allow two-family dwellings, which is different. A two-family dwelling is two individual dwellings that are connected. Paragraph 1 are two separate dwelling units and being allowed in a conversion of an existing building prior to 1928. In that first paragraph, it talks about that any addition made to an existing building that was on the lot prior to 1928 has to be integral to that building. The tunnel or pergola is a specific example, and that language was put in there because somebody had a building that was built prior to 1928. They wanted to have a second dwelling unit on the property. They left that building and they built a really gorgeous pergola and then built a whole brand new structure. And another example, somebody had an existing building, built basically a basement tunnel to a completely brand new structure. So the addition of 20% was designed to take an existing building, allow some expansion of that structure, not a whole brand new structure and connect it by a pergola or a tunnel. That is town council's opinion. The board has issued, quite a few special permits, even in my time, that have allowed the conversion of old barns. They have been moved. That is something that is permitted. The section under 7.1.5, and even in this section, you can change, alter, extend a non-conforming structure. There's nothing specific in that language that says there's other sections in the bylaw where it talks about, you know, where you can't, you cannot substantially alter a structure or substantially change a structure. That language is not in that section, so, town council's opinion is that, yes, you know, somebody can, pick up the building and move it. There's nothing in the bylaw that says, you know, you have to, you know, keep 50% of the original structure, 5%, there's no parameter in the zoning bylaw that speaks to, you have to keep a certain percentage of the structure. You know, I do know in a lot of communities, my in-laws had an old house and they picked up and moved and they had to keep one wall, or, so the, Concord's bylaw has no language regarding, you know, if they kept only one wall and moved the whole building, there's nothing in the zoning bylaw to prohibit that. The other question had to deal with, the original application, asked for a waiver, to that 20% addition. There is no waiver provision, for that section under that first paragraph of 4221, as there are in other sections where the board specifically has the option to waive something. So,
Right.
If there is no waiver provision, then it is, a variance. And there would be no grounds to granting a variance to that 20% addition limitation. So, the applicant, you know, has, amended the design, to remove that request. And then I think I already spoke about the integral part. And I talked about how much of the building is left. And I think those were the four items that the board had asked for clarification on.
So I think this should help a little bit for the buyers. It did help for me. Because I was just indeed questioning the language, and you know, I still don't necessarily agree with town council, but that's, you know, they actually are a lot smarter than I am. Plus there is plenty of precedent set, where garages and barns have been converted to dwelling units, and I think actually the neighbor, and I'm not sure whether that was a special permit or not, but the neighbor to this property has that same configuration with, you know, main building up front and then a smaller, somewhat
Right.
smaller building in the back. So the exact same configuration as what is proposed by this application. So, you know, that is, you know, if you want to have a precedent, you know, there it is right next door. I thought that was very, I hadn't picked up on it until we were out on the site visit, so that was a good thing to see on the site visit, that there was a strong precedent there, right there. So, which then also, I mean, you know, the argument of, which also was brought up by one of the neighbors, the argument of it doesn't fit in the neighborhood, or you know, it's like,
Right.
well, then it does, because the neighbor is, you know,
Yeah.
it's there already.
It's a pattern.
So it's a pattern. So, that's, we can run through all the other comments here unless, you know, people have specific, things that they want to talk about or, discuss.
Yeah, I mean, I think we really pressure tested whether 4221 is available for this, and I think it's very clear it's available. And this building meets the requirements that it can be converted into a dwelling unit, and the addition is less than 1/5 of the size. So to me, it's, I don't think we have the basis of the board to say you can't use 4221 to turn this into a second dwelling.
Right.
And-
Then it's, you know, okay, then there's I'll go to the floor area ratio next, right? I think we had a pretty robust discussion around, you know, the shape of the building, you're bumping out within that kind of same footprint, you know, filling in the corner, it's not reasonable to cut the 70 square feet out.
Right.
It doesn't change visually, because you
Right.
see as much.
So for that
building.
overage.
Yeah.
Again, and again, there's a substantial detriment there, but just from having that extra 70 square feet, I don't think you can say that that adds any detriment to the building that's there,
Right.
or to what they can make by right. It's consistent with the scope and size of what we've approved, you know, staying within that kind of footprint. You know, less than 100 square feet over. I again don't see where we have grounds based on all the decisions this board has made on the max FAR to not grant that relief. And then the last part is really about, I think it's 713 that we're doing it under, or
Mhm.
because this is
Mhm.
this
So,
residential
No.
dwelling now, it's 715. Or the alteration of a non-conforming structure, right, because it's in the side yard.
So it, 7713 would, deal with the structure, where somebody were to create a non-conformity. It becomes, it's a variance. This structure is already non-conforming.
714 is the variance, 713 is, like 715 is for residential structures, and 713 is to like other structures. Like a garage.
Yeah, that's why it's
Yeah, yeah,
713.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's.
So there, you know, to me, it's like, okay, can we find substantial detriment because of the change here? And they're actually making the non-conformity less, right? They're
right,
reducing the amount that this building is in the setback. But there it's where, you know, I feel like the moving of it back. We have to kind of decide whether we feel that's substantially detrimental based on all the feedback we've received from the abutters.
yeah, and as far as the substantially detrimental, I think we also need to make sure that abutters and public knows that it's, you know, it's not just like, well, it makes things substantially more detrimental, but it's not as it relates to the public interest. So does it outweigh the public interest? And the public interest here is adding a second unit. You know, everybody talks about there's not enough homes available. We need to increase residential production. So having adding another unit to the inventory is always good. You know, it does increase the tax base to the town, etc. So there is,
Yeah,
it's
what
not.
we're balancing, we also have to balance the special permit factor.
Right. But it's not just plain, as some of the abutters were pointing to, it's more detrimental, thus you can't do it. It's like, well, it's a balancing.
Well, it doesn't say it's detrimental, it says substantial detriment, right?
Yeah.
And so, you know, somebody has a view that they like, and there's, I think there's the privacy concern. I'm not sure if there's thoughts on whether that second story of the deck, now that the living space is downstairs, is still necessary, or if there's, you know, a little bit of screening just between where that deck overlooks that can be done, you know, but that's the sort of thing where it's, maybe we can address some of those concerns without, you know, having to say there's a substantial detriment there.
Yeah, it's like, you know, and it's hard for neighbors that had, you know, had a certain view for 30 years, and, you know, that view is now changing, but that's changing because somebody is just exercising their property rights.
Right.
Right, and that, you know, because your view is changing, that should not negate somebody else's property rights. So.
Right. I mean, if that's the standard, you need to have like an easement of view, and if there's no legal easement of view.
Right.
then we
Right.
Don't have a strict right to block somebody from putting something on
And
their.
there's not, as far as I know, in Massachusetts, a view, like
View court.
aerial
Mhm.
rights.
right.
They're very much are in California.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, yeah, you gotta go deeper.
Oh, man, yeah, no, I mean, it's something you can, but
Yeah.
we just, cause I'm really trying to make sure I'm honing in on what is our authority? What rules are we responsible for,
Mhm,
you know,
mhm.
representing, enforcing? And I don't think there are any that would touch the aesthetics, like the architecture. That would have to be substantially detrimental, and that would be hard to say because it's within the style vocabulary of the neighborhood.
To me, the issue is, does the change of the location cause substantial detriment? Like, that's where I think we have to kind of just make.
That is, you know, and the change.
And, you know, we've got this point about. Is it the same building? I don't think that's an issue. It's the same building. If he wants to spend a lot more money to rip it down and put the exact same thing back in place, then.
Yeah.
Okay, that's his money, but. I think based on the plans, it's the same building that's being relocated.
Yeah, and plus, I think the bylaw gives us a lot of leeway in terms of modifications to an existing building. So, but then in the discussing the moving of the building, right? Would that be, you know, substantially be more detrimental?
I have a question.
Yeah.
Can I have like some too, if,
Did-
can you, I'm
Yeah,
next.
go ahead, yeah, go ahead.
Okay, can you, just since we're talking about range of possibilities, can you talk about what that would mean to not move it? Does that make it unfeasible?
So if you don't move it, it really impacts how easily you can park cars.
Okay.
That's really the bottom line.
Mm-hmm,
So whether it stays where it is or whether it moves further back,
mm-hmm,
the intention is that there'll be 2 parking spaces for the primary residence behind the house.
okay.
And if the barn stays where it is,
Mhm.
those obviously are gonna be much closer to the barn than if the barn moved back.
Yeah.
And I think from a practical matter, you would have to expect the person in the barn to almost always pull their car into the garage so that the person in the house
Right.
could basically do a wide turn to come out to the street
Mm-hmm,
as opposed to backing all the way out. I think
That
it's
makes
just,
sense.
it's like a cumbersome setup. It's not
And-
to say that you couldn't physically do it.
mm-hmm,
It's just, you wouldn't decide to do it that way
right.
if you had a choice.
And just so we have this all as part of the record,
Mhm.
there is street parking, but are there times when no cars are allowed to park on the street? So that there would need to be off-street parking
In the winter,
in the winter, so snow emergency,
on-street parking, the
Okay.
overnight on-street parking is prohibited.
You have to have 2 spots.
and you have to have 2 spots.
Mhm.
Okay, so the spots are not optional, and without moving, it's very difficult to include the spots. So that starts to say to me that they do need to move it.
Well, that there's a valid reason for moving it. right?
Correct.
That there is a valid reason for moving and then.
It's not just aesthetics, there's like a functional valid reason for.
And by moving it, the non-conformity is also reduced.
Right.
And then moving back from the property line.
Right. Because all the green, the only other way to do it would be to lose the rest of the green there. And that would be more detrimental. You know, if we did it sort of by the pizza oven, the parking was over there.
But it still doesn't, even if you move it a little bit,
Mhm.
you don't, there's 2 spaces now that are basically parked right in front of the garage in the driveway right now, right? For your compliance of your existing house, let's assume that you don't park in the garage or the carriage house as it stands right now. Is there sufficient space on your driveway right now to park 2 cars? What I'm getting at is if you don't move the carriage house,
Right.
do you have enough space on the driveway just for your existing building?
But
Yes, hang on, but then, so if you change the use, you have to provide more parking.
Right.
So if the house is to serve, if the carriage house is to serve as a dwelling and therefore it needs
Yeah.
parking,
Right.
it has to
Mhm.
move unless the existing parking is all put on the street, which we're saying we can't
So
do.
currently, to answer your question, this right here is the edge of the existing pavement.
Got it.
And this is the garage.
Okay,
Right.
So you can pull one car, in the garage and then, you could park two cars outside. the
okay.
Garage if you so
I
choose.
think what you do is just what that diagram shows. You
Mhm.
see the dashed red line? That's the proposed new parking
Right.
for the house.
Yeah.
For the primary house. And then the cars for the additional dwelling unit would have to go inside the garage always. Because if they were left outside the garage, they would be in the way of using those two spaces that go for the primary dwelling unit.
Right.
So I think as a practical matter, it's a challenge to say those people are always gonna pull in the garage. They're, I think it's putting a
Yeah.
burden on the use of that property, frankly,
I mean,
on that dwelling.
yeah, if you didn't park in the garage, you'd have to use all available space between the existing barn and the house, fill in those three and basically block your entrance to the house.
Right.
Yeah, I don't
So that
think
doesn't
that
work.
would work,
Right.
because I think
Yeah.
you need
Yeah.
two spaces. per
Right,
dwelling.
and you can't pull out of the garage, you'd have to pull all the way out the driveway, assuming the other two spaces weren't used,
Right.
which is a public detriment to the safety of getting out of the
Yeah.
driveway.
But,
Yeah.
but also by the same token, the comment was made by, it's a detriment that you move to an abutter. It's a detriment that you move the building because now of using.
Right.
At the same token, somebody else's view is being
Yeah.
improved. If it were the
moves,
case that if you were to take that argument like, hey, you're making my view worse, then, then the flip
Somebody
side
else
is, so.
Somebody's get a better
And,
view.
and I still think then moving the bond, by moving the bond. And that's been sort of the last few days, my big, hang up, but I think by moving the bond. Further away from the property line, you're making the non-conformity. You're improving on the non-conformity, which I think is a benefit. So I think that I think is important.
Can I ask one question on in the setback?
Mhm.
The original design had the staircase coming down into the setback, now it
Mhm.
doesn't.
Correct.
What is your intention for the setback now that it's increased? Are you gonna landscape it?
Oh, yeah.
Great.
So that lessens some
Yeah.
visual impact as well.
Yeah.
Is there any? So again, like this second floor deck, that's still desirable, even though the living space is downstairs now?
It is to the applicant.
And in terms of, there's that one big tree, I think that's the Welch's there. That sort of lines up a little bit with where the deck would be, but are there other trees or anything that could be along that fence?
You could absolutely add landscaping to screen, any view to that deck.
Yeah. And
I mean, I think that's
everything-
helpful.
Right,
Just
so,
for
I
the
mean,
next
and
year.
with views, it always goes both ways, right? It's like, they don't wanna see us, I don't wanna see them, right? So.
Here's a procedural question. So we're sort of coming up with compromise brainstorms that might keep the neighborhood harmonious. Do we look for a reaction to those, or we're just sort of thinking about how it could go? But we're not inviting abutter opinions.
No, I mean, I think, I'm trying to work here towards a decision. And I think this is just a good discussion that we are having here to, so that we all can wrap our heads around it and come to a decision and some conditions.
Yeah.
With that.
But generally, once public
Then
comment
we're
has
done.
been
Okay.
closed,
Yeah,
it
yeah.
has been closed.
It's
Okay.
closed, yeah. So,
Good. Well, I would hope those screening measures would make a difference to people's views.
yeah, but as I said, it always goes both ways.
Yeah.
Things. Yeah, so. Well,
Yeah, and I, ultimately, I don't know that I can say. I can find substantial detriment because somebody has to look at something that they don't really wanna look at. There's not other kind of neighborhood character And I think in a setback kind of. It's tough for me to say that if we find that substantial detriment, I just. I don't know that I could ever not find it, but.
Right, and it's a well-designed building, it's not the silo, right?
Yeah.
It's a well-designed building
within
that
the
fits,
style.
that fits.
Yeah.
Fits the character of the town so.
So, what I would like to, recommend, that this is a pretty, in-depth decision for the board. So if it is the indication that the board does want to move forward and grant the special permit, I would recommend you, continue, close the public hearing and continue this to your, next meeting in November to review a draft decision.
Okay,
I'm fine with it. I was thinking the same thing that this is.
I think
Yeah.
one other thing that would be helpful is that because we have abutters that are not satisfied with where things are right now, can we just review what the appellate process is? So that if some, no, I mean, but that's a fair thing, like, if a person is quite frustrated here, what would their next step be? Should they call private counsel?
Yeah, I think it's part of their call, if they wanna call somebody, that person, I think, can explain to them, here's how you.
Great, okay,
Right,
so it would be the
right.
time for someone to get their own counsel then.
Yeah,
So,
hang on.
no, procedurally.
Yes.
The board has closed public comment.
Right,
If you close the public hearing tonight and continue this to November to
Yeah.
review your decision, then you do not accept any additional information. You do not accept additional comments. So somebody could hire an attorney and they could provide something, that information would not be part of the public record or the public hearing because that has been closed.
okay,
Should the board move forward with a decision that, a butter, disagrees with?
that's what I'm looking for. So if someone, we grant an opinion in the future and someone disagrees with it, what they
You
should do
grant the-
is.
So any decision issued by this board,
Mhm,
once the public hearing is closed, the
mhm,
board has 90 days in which to file a written decision with the town clerk.
okay,
Once that written decision, gets filed with the town clerk,
mhm,
there is a 20-day appeal period in which someone can appeal that decision, to land court.
okay, great. So
Mm-hmm.
it's an appellate process once we actually make our
File your-
decision.
File your
Yeah.
decision,
Yep,
with the town clerk.
then there's a 20-day period where someone who didn't like it would appeal to land court. Okay,
Correct.
great,
And I will not, speak to that process.
No, I
There's,
just
there's,
wanted-
but
I wanted to
people
put
know
out that there
there's
is a
specific
process.
process to that.
Yes,
And they would need counsel to assist them with that process.
yes, okay, but so then at this point, we're not taking any more comments from the public.
Right.
Got it.
We're done. After we close the public hearing, we
Okay.
make a decision. We vote on a decision, No.
Actually, no, you may
No.
not.
public hearing, public comment is closed. Public comment is closed. We appreciate your comments, but.
Be open, as you did the last time.
Mhm.
I'd really like to say something,
Thanks.
if you find out, because I think you're struggling as well. And I hate to see something just
I-
go by the boards when there might be something here that we could work out.
Anyway, so do we want to discuss more? Do we have more items that we want to discuss?
I feel like I have a sense of what's being asked and what the rules are to decide whether or not to grant it,
Mhm.
so. I'm good.
I mean, I think there was that one question about, is there like language in the condition about. Can they make a decision on relocation or rebuilding as practical? I mean. If they needed to move something that's shown on the plan, they'd have to just wouldn't they just come back to us and ask for. Like a administrative sort of amendment or adjustment.
If they needed to move what?
It says right in there, requests for relief that recognize that the building may be relocated or rebuilt as determined as practical. Based on the condition of the existing structure, but to me, it's like, the plan shows it's gonna be here, like that's where it needs to be, or you have to come back to us, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no,
Just wanted to be clear that-
so where it gets moved is, what is shown on the approved
Right.
plan.
And so,
Because the structure, and this is the same with any special permit that the board grants when structure does not meet the required setbacks. Every special permit decision has a condition that prior to framing, that an as-built foundation plan be provided that shows that structure is going to be located where it is shown on the approved plans.
Great.
For this, I don't know the specific terms under the building code, how this happens. But for this, application, a foundation plan, is going to be poured for the new structure. They will submit an as-built plan for that to show that it is in the location that was approved by the board. And then the structure would be moved and located on that foundation.
all right, and then, this idea of. We moved it and wall fell off and we need to rebuild that wall. I don't know that we need language specifically of that. If the
No,
elevation
so,
plans show
based on,
the building, right?
the comments from, town council, there's nothing in the
Not
zoning
condition there,
bylaw
right.
that says somebody can't completely,
Right.
rebuild parts of the structure.
We could have that, but Concord doesn't, and so.
Well, not in the zoning bylaw.
Yeah.
This is a, a special permit. The board can place reasonable conditions, on this special permit and,
Yeah, I mean, for me, the elevations are also part of the submission, right? So if they were to change the shape, size, anything of the building, it wouldn't be what was approved, right? It's like.
They're bound to
The wall.
build what they
Yeah,
said they were
right.
gonna build.
Right.
Yeah.
right, so if they, came back and, there were, instead of 3 windows, there were, 5 or, then no, that would not be in substantial conformance with, with the decision. The elevations currently show, and I'm sorry, I'm probably gonna get this wrong architecturally, but, maybe it's a 6 light window,
Mhm.
and it's 6 little squares,
Yes.
and they come in that same location, they put a 4 light window. I'm fairly certain that both the building commissioner and I would find that in substantial conformance.
Yeah.
But if they wanted to add 3 more 6 light windows, then no, that would not be approved.
Good.
So I get, Paul, are you looking for something in particular? On this, recognizing the relocation rebuild or?
I just wanted to be clear that when you move a building of that age, you might have to replace something. It's not the intent to suggest at all that they're gonna build a new building that matches those drawings. The intent is that that building that's there now gets moved and modified as it's shown on the drawings.
Mhm.
But the practical reality is that you might have to replace sills, you might have to replace, 5 feet of wall, whatever it is. I just wanted to be upfront about that.
And building codes, might
Yeah.
might make you change stuff. So. Are we okay? Are we good? So I want to close the hearing. And
So you would need a motion and a second to close the public hearing. And then, I don't know if you want a consensus from the board on the direction you'd like to move forward with drafting a decision.
I think there is a consensus on the board that we, I think, wanna approve this.
Yeah, I think the
Um,
changes
and-
that were made.
The
The
changes,
design
right,
are responsive to some of the issues that were there and, you know, it's obviously not gonna satisfy all the abutters. But I think it satisfies the zoning bylaw where I don't have. a
yeah,
basis to
yeah,
it on.
no, and that, and plus, I think the town council's clarification, I
Mhm.
think, makes this application fit in better within the zoning bylaw, so.
So I will draft a decision besides, you know, our standard conditions that I mentioned.
Mhm.
Draft a condition regarding the submission of a landscape plan.
Mhm.
That,
Good.
it would be prior to. I would imagine prior to the issuance of a, you know, final certificate, well, prior to the issuance of building permit, they submit a landscape plan. That will be, you know, reviewed by me, but, and then I can also, have it reviewed by the chair who happens to be a landscape architect.
Yes.
Yeah, and, then there would be a follow-up condition that prior to the issuance of an occupancy permit, that landscaping be installed.
Mhm.
So those would be two additional, conditions, on top of your standard conditions.
Does the standard include the infiltration, stormwater?
Yeah.
Because we're getting more driveway. here.
You're more increasing impervious, therefore the stormwater condition goes in there as well.
Yeah,
I would be,
Thank you.
happy, so under the, site plan criteria is generally where, you know, you speak about, stormwater runoff, the increase in impervious coverage. And, you know, we have now developed a standard condition that, prior to the issuance of the building permit, the site plan be modified to include, infiltration for, the driveway, and then, many times it's for new buildings and they include, roof drains. I question, you know, I question that for, you know, this project, but definitely, for the increase in impervious area. I mean, I can add that condition as well.
yeah, and it could be, some of the pavement could be impervious pavement, pervious pavement, you know, some pavers, et cetera.
Yes, the gap
Yeah.
parking. the
Yeah,
gap parking.
and it
Yeah.
could be something like that, just to alleviate that, and it, as I said, you know, with our new stormwater bylaw, that gives homeowners also a credit towards,
Oh. Yes,
to-
that will,
Save you
yeah,
some money.
Mhm.
not adding pavement will be something on everybody's mind.
Yeah,
Once
yeah.
they get their first stormwater utility bill.
Yeah. Absolutely. So motion to close the hearing?
I move that we close the public hearing. Do I need to say all this stuff?
No.
No.
And then it would be,
And continue it to our November 13th meeting at 7:25.
so it's just an administrative item.
Oh,
'cause
as an
it's not a
administrative
public
item.
hearing,
Great,
to review your decision.
great.
Okay.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And is that at your next,
November 13th is our next, yeah,
it is, as an administrative item, is that at the
Yeah.
beginning or at the end?
oh, that's always at the end.
Yeah.
Or, if somebody continues and there's time, but it's generally at the end.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you
Like,
very
like,
much.
like this person is now experiencing.
All right.
Thank you for your
Okay.
patience.
13.
Thank you.
The brief public
Okay,
break.
yeah, I think, since we've been sitting in almost 2 hours, can you have it? 5-minute recess, please,
Great.
or less than 5
And
minutes.
then we have one more.
Could have one more and then. Are we there?
Yep.
We're there, being at 7:25, Jeffrey D. Cronin and Joshua Norton, trustees, the applicant on behalf of Philip S. McCoy Esquire, is the owner for a special permit on the zoning bylaw, section 4221 and 11.6, to demolish the existing 2,183 square foot single-family dwelling and construct a new 6,716.5 square foot two-family dwelling at 1606 Main Street. Anybody here to speak on behalf of the applicant,
Yes.
the owner?
So I'm Josh Lawton.
I believe you also submitted some new information.
Yes, so I'll be brief because I think we submitted after the
Yep.
site visit the requested information
Mhm.
that was asked of us. So we also, our architect made some modifications to the elevation in the meantime too, to further drop the roof line down. So our peak at the front house is 22 feet off grade, which is probably less than 4 feet where the initial house is now. So we, you know, just based on some comments we heard about the heights, we just kind of went ahead. He felt like that was something he could do without sacrificing the architecture and the character of what he was trying to accomplish, so we just went ahead and did that. So, and that was submitted too. Jeff
Okay,
submitted that
did
too.
you make any changes towards the back of the house at all, or was this just the front?
It was just the front.
Just the
Yeah.
front, okay, good.
Yeah.
Anything else? Yeah, we did ask for some sections and which I don't think we as it relates to the neighbor's house.
But the full grading plan gave me the information and
Okay, good.
context that I was looking for.
Okay, but there was, can we pull up the grading plan just?
Overlay that you requested, Steve.
Yeah, yeah.
It was, the three.
No, I'm,
The three existing.
you need to say your name
Name
and
and-
address for the record, please.
Jeff Cronin, I'm also a trustee for this
Okay,
project.
Thank you.
and then if we can have the grading plan up,
Who's that? No. Is
also.
that the proposed site plan?
Yeah, the one, there's a grading plan that came in, today, and it showed you where the finished floor of the building was, and I mean, it just. Yeah, and I mean, again, I think, you know, you and I can read that a lot easier than others, and so that's why I wanna pull it up, so that we
They're
can.
your observations.
So that, yeah,
Yeah.
what there is, so that others.
Yeah.
Might see that, because I was, you know,
Is that this one?
yeah, and if you can sort of.
Oh.
Yeah, and then zoom in sort of on the back portion of the house, and then a little parking area.
Well, it's worth starting in the front. I'll explain why in a minute. Just slide down, slide
There
down.
we
Yep,
go.
there you go.
slide down.
Okay.
Zoom in a little bit more. I'm sorry, I know this is painful, but it'll make sense.
Yeah. So what's clear here also as a result of this, doing this grading plan, they added this wall here off to the side, on the side, which I don't think was shown on,
That's why I-
previously.
Yeah,
Okay,
Right, so that gives you an indication that that it is lower, just, you know,
that's on the left-hand side.
and on the left-hand side, yeah.
so the reason I asked for it was because I wanted to find out what the grade at the street was.
Okay,
And it looks like correct me if I'm wrong, it's 100 feet at the front. And then the grade of the floor in the back of the building is 90 feet. So the back of this building is more than a story underground or dropped down from the front, right?
and then the lot does that
The
too.
lot goes down
Okay.
naturally.
Okay,
So when you said you've reduced the front to 20, 21,
Yeah,
right, and you're just a little bit higher than the existing house. The
hmm
existing house appears to be like a story and a half,
right,
right? So this is a very low now in the front versus what it was,
okay,
right? And then the back hasn't changed, but I wanted to know the number of how far down it was. It's 10 feet down.
mhm,
And then if you follow the grade along the side where they had to put the retaining wall in,
mhm,
you find the adjoining houses are higher grade, probably about 5 or 6 feet up.
okay,
So they're gonna look basically over the roof.
okay,
Their ground floor will be level with the second floor, their second floor will look over the roof. So it just, you didn't cut the existing houses with back, but I ran the math and basically you're pretty much the same height the back of the building, even though it looks like it's 3 stories in the drawing, you take out the floor, that back of the house is at basically the same level as the adjoining houses.
Okay,
So the front is lower than the one on the corner, right? 'Cause you said it-
Substantially, yeah.
Right, it's considerably, because that's almost 3 stories.
There's a house directly to the east.
Yeah.
yeah.
Did the butter ask a question, this stage?
Not just.
Almost.
That's why I asked for the section, so I wanted to put some numbers to, so I could see how far you're down, how much of that is, it looks big on paper, but when you actually take it all the way down to grade, it's not as impactful as I was.
Okay, so it makes the building massing a lot less impactful than it would
right,
be.
yeah. And if you just look at the elevation, yeah.
Good, and that's a good thing for the character of the neighborhood because the houses are smaller.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can we go look at a bit, just sort of move the image up so that we see, not the other way around. Let's move it down, move the image up, please.
Oh, yes.
As
The
always,
other way.
up,
Scroll
down.
down.
Right, right.
Yeah, up, so you see this, yeah, there it is, there it is.
Yeah.
So this is, as far as the character of the neighborhood goes, there is this tree in front of the house, right? That is being saved, wanting to be saved. This grading plan shows that there's a cut in the tree roots, right? Because these 2 grade lines that go there indicate that there is a cut going through. So that tree is gonna go, so that grading plan just needs to change a little bit.
So you're saying because of the grading plan, you may be impacting the roots of that.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
the- so to
so the 2
preserve the
dark
tree,
lines
yeah,
there, that
they
is
need
right,
to-
that
yeah.
in it, show that there is, there's, the contours are going down, they're cutting into that,
That's right.
into the roots of the tree, so that, you gotta just adjust that grading plan so that they need that driveway.
Is there a way to
Yeah.
like do a
Yeah,
tree well or?
No, I think those
You can just
those
push the lines
contours
back
run.
a little bit and.
Oh, you just run the contours
Yeah,
differently
oh,
and save
or-
the tree.
Right.
Yeah.
You just run the contours right next to the paving.
Right.
Or you don't drop as much. I think
Right.
the civil engineer wanted a really gentle slope into the back. But if he keeps that front higher and then just go the slope in the back somewhat, a little bit steeper, I think it would solve the problem as well.
Oh, to save the tree.
Just all to save the tree, all to good.
You buried the lead. We want to save the tree.
To the comment, I wasn't sure if you were saying, so let's correct it because the tree is going away.
Yeah, no,
Okay.
the tree needs to be saved,
Great.
tree needs to be
Good.
saved, because
Yep.
I think that's
That's
important for
green.
neighborhood character.
Yeah.
It was hard for
Preservation.
civilians to follow for a minute.
Yeah, sorry, and there's some other stuff that I would change in this grading plan, because the water from the sidewalk on goes all the way into this, anyway, that's your problems to deal with. Any other questions from us here directly?
So I just wanted to
Yeah,
pick
go
up
ahead.
on the first one you said, have you added a retaining wall on the side?
Yes.
Okay, when you add the retaining wall, are you gonna affect any of the property or trees adjoining it? I'm going further back because there's another tree we noted on the site
Yeah.
visit that's right next to that retaining wall.
I don't think so, because the trees the trees really start kind of, at the existing shed now.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So the front part of that is much steeper, which is gonna be right up against the driveway.
Yeah, there's one tree that's shown on that plan, which is not shown on this one, which is right right there,
Yeah,
right next to the retaining wall.
Yep.
yeah,
And that's the main character tree for that property.
yeah.
I'm just pointing out,
Yeah.
you confirmed that there's a retaining wall.
Mhm.
You haven't given us details of its height or its impact, but you
Right.
have a concern about preserving neighborhoods,
Right.
tree, and I know the fence is right on line with that tree, and we're just concerned that we're saving that tree.
Right. Yeah.
Equally important, we'd like to save or preserve the character of that tree,
Mhm.
because it does provide view screening for will be the.
Yeah, so we don't have the elevations of the retaining wall, but imagining as we get back that far, you
Yeah.
saw inside,
Yeah.
it drops down, so it's not gonna be substantial,
Right.
the wall that we're creating.
Yeah.
Okay.
When we
But
get
it-
back to that point.
It may be that, if the feeling is that if you're so close that you would be detrimental to the neighbor's tree and property, one of the conditions would be that the plan should endeavor to preserve that tree. Right? So in essence, that retaining wall might change its shape a little bit to preserve that tree.
Sure.
Yeah, and I think that retaining wall needs some other shaping, but. Well, that's what I would do, just to make it all a bit friendlier, but I think that tree, it's on the property line or it's right in the neighbor's yard, so if you start cutting its roots, the neighbor, tree dies, neighbor gets upset, that's not a good thing. So I think you'll be well served to have, somebody look into that. I see I'm gonna, yeah, go ahead.
So how tall is this retaining wall?
I was gonna just try to figure that one out.
Again, I don't have the exact,
I don't think it's very tall.
but it's not super tall, and again, it should taper as it gets back.
It may only be like 2 or 3 feet tall.
Yeah.
But it's gonna need a foundation. When you put the foundation in it, then you're into the roof.
Yeah, we should.
Kevin has his hand up.
Oh, Kevin has his hand up.
Oh, Kevin. Go ahead.
You guys are talking about this retaining wall, and I just wanted to make a comment that, should you move forward with this, grant the special permit and we move forward with this, if that retaining wall is less than 4 feet, it's not going to require a building permit. So if there's, if this is an issue with the special permit, then, maybe that there should be conditions about it, because when the building application comes through, the building permit application comes through, it's the retaining wall is not going to be part of it because it's not required.
So he can't enforce it.
Okay.
So
Yeah. So if
So you guys are kind of talking about, you're making my point here by addressing it, but it should be, if it needs to be, if there's particular attention needs to be paid to it, then it should be put in the special permit, because it's not a building code requirement that a permit is, that a permit's required for it.
Yeah.
Got
If
it.
that makes
Thank
sense.
So,
Yep.
yeah, and I'm looking at this plan here on my screen and a bit zoomed in, and this wall is give or take 4 feet, maybe a bit less. I mean, I don't think this wall is necessary. It can all be graded out.
Yeah.
And it will create, save yourself the money, should we approve this? Then, just grade it out, forget about the wall. This is all very much gradable. So anyway.
All the comments are related to impact,
Mhm.
really, is really what it is.
Really good impact.
You can grade it anyway.
If you wanted to do, then do sort of a tree well, or an inverse tree well around that tree. We had somebody here wanted to talk, and I'm gonna open this up for public comment, seeing whether there is also somebody else online who wants to speak, but with somebody in the audience here that wanted to make a comment. So please state your name and address, please.
Hi, I'm Gib Metcalf. I'm the abutter at 19 Damon Street with that tree that you've been talking about. That's on the boundary of my yard. So my question was, so I've submitted letters that express concern about this project, and quite frankly, we're opposed to it primarily because 2 reasons. One is that my impression is, and I didn't quite understand your comment, maybe you were talking about the front of the house, but my impression is that the back structure will be really looking right smack into our backyard, sort of looming into our yard. And the canopy of that boundary tree is actually higher, so that there's an area of view that will be looking smack at that new piece of property in the back.
Mhm.
That upsets us. I think the Concord Historical Commission has raised concerns about the size of this. I'm also concerned about that tree, and I don't quite understand the purpose of this retaining wall and what it's made of and but I'm worried, like you, I worry about the impact on the tree.
Yeah, and I think that just needs to be figured out a bit more because.
So the last point I would just make, and then I'll be quiet.
Okay.
Is that I think our first preference would be to do something much more modest on the property. But if you are gonna do something, I think you not only have to save that tree, but you have to make sure that we can preserve the kind of privacy that we have in that neighborhood, that we have had looking out into that area.
Yeah. So is that the same condition of, and the supplying a landscape plan?
It can, yeah.
Right.
Sounds like it
Right.
should be.
It should be the landscape plan before, before certificate of occupancy. Actually, with the building
The way
permit.
you said it with the foundation.
Well, it's
Yeah, but-
different condition, yeah, but it's
It's a
same,
different-
same.
I like
at
her
the time,
sequence of
But
events.
what he was saying is that, so and this is sort of elevation, right? Your property drops off as well towards the back, right?
No, his
No.
is flat. 'cause
His
I
is pretty
walked the
flat.
street, it-
Okay, because
it's flat.
his property line, his grades at his property is like 94-ish.
Yeah, 94, 95, when it looks like. it
Yeah,
flips right around that.
94, and then the floor, the finished floor is actually 91.5.
Right.
So it is just slightly below,
Yeah, but his house is up a bit, because his ground slopes across. So
Mhm.
his house is actually up a little bit off of his grade,
mhm,
just a couple of feet, but
mhm.
I think the back of, if we look out, if we're in the center of our backyard looking. I guess that's west, towards that
Mhm.
property. That will be kind of at the highest point of the back part of the house. Is what it looked like from the elevations that I saw.
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
highest, not of the house, of that section of it. Because the front portion is actually still gonna be higher than that
So
portion.
to be clear, there's the front house and then there's a back
Yeah, yeah.
structure. I'm calling that a house. But
Yeah, the back half is,
Yeah.
yeah.
Right.
Are you all set?
Yep.
For now, all right. I'm going then to Mr. Bogosian.
Thank you. Alan Bogosian, 1624 Main Street. If you're looking at the project, my house is the second one to the left of it. And I'm gonna go out on a limb and say, you people talk about the neighborhood. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say none of you people know about the neighborhood because you haven't been in the neighborhood for 40 years or 50 years or 60 years, like most of the people in this neighborhood. Okay, so and I just want to also say that I'm against the project, if I didn't say that before. But so if you're in my backyard, I'm wondering, because we have a bunch of gardens and we grow our own food here, if anyone's done a shade study or anyone's done a sun study, because looking at the pictures of this house, it's going to dwarf the Butterworth property, and it's also going to dwarf my backyard. And there'll be no sun in the backyard, and it's this house down the rear will look directly into our house, because our house is a small house, maybe 1,600 square feet, not 7,000 square feet. The other thing I want to state is, once you put a house like this in the neighborhood, you are going to change the whole feel for this neighborhood. And you are going to, the common sense rule is going to go right out the window, especially in West Concord. And you're going to see a lot of things happening in the section of Concord. It's going to open up a whole new set of buildings and what people are going to be doing to their properties. And just for the record, I was reading in the narrative, this section of town wasn't called Westvale, it was called Damonville because of what the Damons did during the Civil War. I don't know if you're familiar with the fact that the Damons made uniforms for the Union soldiers, shipped them up the Concord, out the Assabet, out to the Merrimack, and then down Washington, D.C. for the Union soldiers in the Civil War. And this section of town wasn't Westvale, it was Damonville.
Okay,
So I don't know if any of you are familiar with that.
no.
No.
So
but
my
thank you.
question is, has anyone done a sun or a reflective study on the properties here?
I don't think so.
I don't
No.
think so. But, you know, I'm looking at Google Street View or on Google Maps. And, you know, there's quite a few, you know, first of all, I don't think, given the location of this building, it's a two-story building with a roof. You know, I don't think that would throw a shadow as far as your property. And there's quite a few trees in between this house and your property. So
No, there aren't. There aren't.
So what I can also inform the board that the only time this board has ever requested that type of shadow study would be for a structure that does not meet the height requirement. So there's been a couple of Middlesex School, because they asked for a height waiver, but the board has not asked for shadow studies for structures that meet the height requirement.
Okay.
And I think like Novo, with a comprehensive permit. Is another.
Yeah.
Traditionally done on high rises.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
traditionally
but that's a good point. This application meets the height requirement of the town, so
So we don't have any authority to change that. Even if. we did,
right. We would not, I don't think we would be able to deny this application because there would be a shadow on somebody else's
Okay.
property.
Okay,
Right, as long as they're within the rights that they have.
right.
Designing envelope.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so.
It's a good point, but not our
The-
area.
Right.
So, the only time, height, comes into play is when the board is reviewing applications, for special permits. It's size, bulk, scale. Those are parameters under zoning in which the board has the ability to evaluate projects, special permits, and whether it meets those 6 criteria in the special permit, and then the criteria is set in section 4 through 1, the 2-family, the second paragraph.
Thanks.
So that's it for you, Mr. Bogosian?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Well, one more thing, I would strongly suggest that the ZBA use the common sense rule when evaluating this project.
Thank you, Mr. Bogosian. The ZBA tries to follow what the zoning bylaw tells us to do. So we try to follow the bylaw as much as we can, because that's our charge. I mean, we weigh every application that comes before us against what's in this in the zoning bylaw. So anybody else online? Seeing nobody, close the public comment section of this hearing. Board members, where do we want to go? I can pick it up here for a little bit. It is, and this goes to Mr. Bogosian's comment. There is a lot of subjectivity here that could come into play. I think there is just two, it's just two special permits for 221 and then the 11.6. The 11.6 is again, I think it weighs very heavily that there is a second dwelling unit provided by this application. And that is very important to the town, very important for the Commonwealth in general. The zoning application, this exact same building could be built out on site and bigger if it were a single family. The only reason why this application is here is because they wanted to make it a two-family.
Yeah, and that's an important point. That they could
I
do
think
it
that's
as a
very
matter of right.
important point, and
And in West Concord, where there are a lot of two families. So
I know
it's
West
not-
Concord,
it's not
Right.
Out of.
right,
precedent.
and I think from the street, as we just, the new building is being sent back from the street. It's moved within the setbacks.
Mhm.
And then sort of the bulk, the massing is really down further back.
Mhm.
And so, as in like, does a big building like this fit in the neighborhood? If you look at it from the sky, it would stand out. I think if you drive by on the street, I don't think you will notice it
Mhm.
at all. And I think, as I started off with, providing a second unit, it is important for me, but I also think that, the town of Concord, through town meeting has, for the last several years, adjusted the zoning bylaw to allow more two-family units in more residential districts.
Mhm.
So it is something that the town as a whole strives for. And obviously, if you allow a two-family unit instead of a single-family unit, obviously there's going to be more bulk. It's going to be a bigger footprint. It's going to be a bigger building because it's a two-family building.
Also, this parcel is much larger than some of the adjoining ones
Correct.
on Damon Street,
And
so that
it is a
within
large lot.
Yeah.
It is a very
available
large lot.
GFO,
Yeah.
GFA
Right.
is open to this owner and where it may not be to them. So the contrast in the parcel is also a contributing factor.
Mhm.
Yeah, you can build a 6,500 square feet by right, single family.
You don't-
And I think that what they've done with the massing here is as amenable to neighborhood character as
Mhm.
you're gonna get with anything they put on this lot. And neighborhood character is kind of a one factor where I think you could try to weigh against the beneficial impact of Concord passing this very bylaw so we can have two families. So, yeah, to me, I have to think about neighborhood character. When I think about neighborhood character, I kind of come down on, what is the kind of massing here and how does it compare to the, again, right, I don't think you can compare it to the houses on Damon Street because it's not like the lot on Damon
Yeah,
Street.
right.
But your street presence
Yeah.
is comparable to that on Damon Street, actually.
And you had, right, exactly, so, yeah, for me, it clearly meets the bylaw.
I think so too, so.
Agreed.
So, again, a little bit more complicated, decision. If the board would like, I can, as the previous one, you can close the public hearing and continue deliberation to the next meeting, and I can prepare a draft along with conditions. I know, we have, but this also adds quite a bit of pavement.
Yeah.
But there's additional conditions regarding the preservation for those trees.
Mhm.
and, you know, change in the grading to reduce it or eliminate the retaining wall. And there was, landscape, stormwater. Yeah. All I have so far.
Plantings for privacy?
That would be the landscape
Landscape.
plan, yes.
I was gonna say, I think the two trees, which again, our intention is to preserve them, I think they're gonna fall under the tree preservation guidelines in town anyways, because the roots and the trees are gonna be in the setbacks. So I think we'd be working with them anyways to, you know, to put up guardrails around it during construction and to make sure that the roots and, you know, and the trees are preserved during all that. I think that'll be just part of the process already, based on other work we've done in Concord.
So the tree preservation bylaw has limitations. And the, you know, for the front tree, it would be a little bit easier, you know, that fence
Solution.
would actually, you know, have to go out much further and you would need to change, as the board has requested, change the grading plan to be able to adequately preserve that. I think the tree in the middle, I think it's a 20-inch maple. That one under the tree bylaw, because it is not on this property, actually does not
Yeah, okay,
apply.
I thought it affected roots as well, so.
Not yet.
Can't wait.
As I said, the tree bylaw has limitations.
Gotcha, yeah.
It would be almost impossible for the town to monitor that type of activity on abutting properties. So, but because this is a special permit, and the board is weighing, you know, the neighborhood character and all that, it does give the board the ability
Understood, yeah, understood.
to provide better protections. And so I think that's where a condition regarding modifying the grading that specifically addresses preserving those trees would be.
Good, I like that.
It is one point that if I'm reading this, the grading plan correctly, your finished floor is gonna be at the exact same level as the shed that's already there. So there probably is some. It may be okay, what I'm kind of getting at, but I don't know how you're handling the rest of the earth and everything else around there, so it's. I don't think we're talking about a substantially different condition than's out there. We just want to highlight it because. The grading plan is, you know, loose, it's ground, yeah, you have the building figured out, but you gotta figure out the grading. And we just wanna protect the protection that provides to the homeowner and frankly to you, if it was detrimental, it's gonna probably fall onto you. So let's not have that happen, so.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
and I do think, look, again, looking at this plan, I, you know, that back building of, you know, on sort of the L in the back, that's smack in the middle of his property. So, you know, you heard his concerns, and I do think that looking at the plan, I mean, you're within the setback, so you have it, what it is 15 feet to do something substantial in there, with some landscaping, and all. I know you have.
So can I also provide a condition option, that has been done a few times, that it, you know, all of the landscaping doesn't necessarily, you know, have to be on this particular property. You know, the applicant can work with the abutters.
We did on the Throw Hills, on the Throw project. Provided some screening and some extra.
So the condition can be flexible as far as the landscaping plan, and, you know, the applicant can work with the butters to have, you know, some landscaping on the project site. But it may also work to have additional landscaping on, you know, abutting properties. And then, you know, then
Yeah,
they can
that's a great idea.
make sure that it grows and it lives and.
Yeah.
So,
Good.
I can, word the condition, in,
While we're talking,
In that manner.
there's another retaining wall on the other side. Is that being preserved as is? This one? Cause it goes right across to the neighbor's house on that side. You're taking part of it down,
Yeah,
just
Yeah,
that same condition of protecting the neighbors and existing.
mhm.
yeah, I mean, this one is more, I think, to hold the grade as it slopes down, not from the neighbor so much.
Right, but it's, depending on how you change
Yeah,
it,
it's
it
like-
might affect the neighbor a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, the intention would be to,
To
you know,
keep
kind
it,
of main
keep it all.
the slope,
yeah.
grade it down and slope it, yeah.
Okay, cool. But yeah, so you heard the neighbors' comments here, so I do advise you, I mean, we will have conditions and all, but I do advise you to contact the neighbor.
Yep.
And just listen to their concerns and see what you guys can work out, to make the neighbor,
but you
a
have.
little
you have-
less unhappy.
You have time.
Yeah.
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 If the board closes the public hearing, you wouldn't have to submit something before November, so you have time to
Okay.
have conversations.
And take a look at it and get someone to look at it and.
And I'll
Assess it.
think about how to word the condition between
Yeah.
now and
Yeah.
the
Good.
next few weeks.
Good.
Okay, thank you. So,
I move to close the public hearing on this matter and continue it to November thirteenth as an administrative
No,
item.
No. You wanna do a continuation to,
So,
No,
so you're
it's just
gonna
not-
close, move and second to, move to close the public hearing.
Mhm.
And, continue deliberation on a draft decision, at the November 13th meeting.
So moved.
Second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Thank you.
So, next,
you.
next
Mhm.
is, the approval not required. So.
Are you gonna be billing for all this time?
I hope so.
I hope so.
I'll put down my time.
Yeah.
Hmm?
Okay.
He's here
Alan
for,
Major.
he's Alan the Major.
Yeah.
He's Alan the Major, so he,
Did they make him come? Seriously, yes,
but then you should bill him.
He's a professional.
Yeah.
yes. I,
Yeah.
didn't you get the email?
Well, I did, and I asked the question, and they said, they want you to go.
Oh, okay.
Just in case.
That's okay, well, bill the hours then. So do we need to approve this?
No.
We do need to approve this? So we so. let's-
Explain it for the public
You
and then.
feel not required, we need to approve.
Approval not yeah, that's for ours. It's an approval not required, but we need to approve it.
We need to understand it.
We need to understand it. Yeah, now we looked at the plan and looked the way it was
Lovely.
supposed.
Yeah, so
Wait, hang on, wait,
this is probably the first time twice in, I ever known that the Board of Appeals has done an A and R plan, so we're gonna, I'm
Great.
Do we-
Show you
I'm
how it
excited
is.
to learn.
Do you have to,
Off to
what,
the races.
isn't it, there's a signature
Take the hot
block on
seat.
top, right? It's a signature block. Who's gonna sign it? Do we all need to sign?
No.
The old days, you use, the old days, you have to sign Mylars.
So, this is an A and R plan for, 275 Forest Ridge Road. This is, in relation to the comprehensive permit that the board issued. The, board granted waivers to the requirements for frontage. This plan, is in conformance with the board's comprehensive permit decision showing, one lot each lot has, at least 50 feet of frontage on Forest Ridge Road. And the configuration is, in conformance with the, board's decision. So, the board is authorized as part of that comprehensive permit to, endorse this plan as approval not required. And I put this in my email and so specifically the board Oh. Oh, I'm not a touch screen person. Hold on one second.
Bottom left corner, there are signature lines, right? So who's signing this?
So as part of your motion to move to endorse the plan as an approval not required, and I'm gonna bring up the email, you would also authorize the town planner to endorse the plan on behalf of the board. And
Are you gonna do Mylar?
yes,
Yeah. So, yeah.
Oh my,
Yes.
everything's digital.
Like you-
File folders.
no,
Well,
the registry of
Oh,
deeds still
oh,
requires.
the Mylar.
I sign a Mylar.
You sign a Mylar, yeah?
Yeah, and the Mylar,
Who can, do you guys print on?
Yeah.
Mylar?
yeah.
Still?
Yeah.
Are you?
Well, you have to for the registry.
Yeah, yeah.
Registry
you
only
guys are
accepts Mylar.
civil engineer. We didn't keep Mylar at one point anymore because of me, and then the new products
Yeah.
didn't work with it
Accept
because
it,
it was
yeah.
all schmuds
Yeah.
all over the
So
place.
the plan is consistent with the board's comprehensive permit, and I am recommending that the board endorse the A and R plan by Allen and Majors Associates, Inc. titled Approval Not Required, 275 Forest Ridge Road, Concord, Mass. 01742 for WP East Acquisitions LLC dated October 2nd, 2025, as approval not required because the plan is not a subdivision, because it shows the division of land so that every lot has the required frontage on an adequate way pursuant to a comprehensive permit recorded with the Middlesex South Registry of Deeds in book 84021, page 451, and authorize the town planner to endorse the plan.
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Oh my gosh. Is Mylar, like Mylar balloons you print?
No.
It's a plastic piece that you've drawn on and it.
That's what I.
Because it doesn't deter
That's what
like
I was
paper,
thinking.
it's
Okay.
preserved. Right. So it's
Can
not-
I take that with me today, or do you want me to come back and pick it up?
If at 20 to 10 you want to hang around, I'd be happy to sign it and get
That's
it.
funny, it's that.
Well, it's
It's
20
10
to
to
10
10.
right now, so if the board adjourns, yeah.
Oh.
Oh, board adjourns.
No.
I can't have a couple more items.
Yeah, we have minutes to approve. We have minutes to approve. Meeting minutes, September 2nd, 2025. The site visit on September 11th, 2025, which is a regular meeting. We got draft minute.
Yeah. I was good with
They're
that.
nice.
We were all good with the minute.
Very good.
I got a comment on the 11.
You got a comment on the 11th?
Just because I'm a difficult associate member, Rebbe wasn't actually listed as a member, he was just left off as what his title is. And then, you repeated a statement under the, Henry Jane, it looks like a copy was sent in two same paragraphs. You talk about the letter there, and then you repeat it up here. I didn't know if it was intentional. You talk about the. I don't know if it was, I mean, it's the exact same statement, it's just repeated twice, that's all.
Oh,
I don't know if it makes
okay.
any difference. You just mentioned a butter made a comment.
Yes, I didn't draft these, so,
Don't think it matters.
well, no,
We have to
So
continue to the 13th.
yes, please, because.
Okay, let's continue those. I'd like a motion to approve the September 2nd site visit meeting minutes.
I move to approve the September 2nd. Site visit.
Meeting minutes.
Tired.
I second.
Meeting minutes.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
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 And then we'll do the September 11th, next time. So that's meeting adjourned. Thank you so much.